Hey guys, Broken Solar Panel here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make 8-bit music with Audacity. It's actually quite simple. You need to generate some tones, but I tuned the tone generator first to see what the frequency settings are for each tone you want to generate. And over here it says to go up an octave, multiply the hertz by 2. If you want to go down an octave, divide the hertz by 2. So, yeah. You want to go up 2 octaves, times the hertz by 2, and then times the answer you get by 2 again, and then you'll be going up 2 octaves for the tone you want to generate. If you're always going to be playing in that octave, you can probably type those hertz in your own list too. Alright, let's get started. So there's 4 main wave tones on this version of Audacity. Some versions of Audacity allow you to preview the tone before, but for some sucky reason it doesn't allow me to preview this one, so yeah, so there's 4 main types of waves for this. The sine wave, I'm going to give you a preview at 440 hertz. Now let's preview a square wave at the same hertz. Now let's check out a Sawtooth wave. Here's what they call it, a sawtooth wave, because it looks like a sawtooth. And now, the square wave with no alias. Which is basically a rounded corner square wave. I'm going to go ahead and generate another track here so you can compare the 2 square waves. So compare the general square wave with the square wave with no alias. See how the corners are rounded on the no alias square wave, and they're pretty sharp here on the regular square wave. So yeah. So when making 8-bit music, I recommend if you're going to be using a square wave, use a square wave with no alias, because it doesn't sound as yucky as the regular sharp angled square wave. And it sounds a little more like the retro Nintendo Entertainment System, plug it and play TV games, you know, all the classics. You know, standard Pac-Man, Rally X, you know, all those classic games. They use pretty much the same types of tones for their music. So let's start with something simple like shaving a haircut. Now, I've already got the hertz generated here. So for F, you'll want 350 hertz, and you go 0.25 seconds. And you just go ahead and make sure it's all zeros, so you get it right. And you stop at this 0 right here where it's after the decimal, and then just type 25, and you have 0.25. So do 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 do. So do, yeah, that's about 0.25 seconds. So yeah, you check the first note, and then you use the envelope tool, which is up here. So you don't have to highlight the whole thing. You can just select this tool up here, which is the envelope tool. You can use this to make the thing fade up or down. And you can just select the volume you want it to drum back, because this doesn't sound right for shaving a haircut. For shaving a haircut, you'll want a fade down note or whatever. So you'll need to shrink the ending down to the volume you want it to stop at, and then the beginning volume up to possibly, for me, the very highest level of the volume. Now don't worry about these dots in between here. Those I don't really know what those are for, but looks like they raised the volume past their original point. So when you see those middle dots, just ignore them. Only worry about the edge dots. So for grabbing the top, moving this up to the top, it's going to be a little complicated for me to explain, but maybe not. Let's see. So you grab the top, and then you just drag it up here. But if you drag it too far, it'll go back down to its original setting. So you drag the mouse back down until that is at the top again. Like, you put your mouse like right here and try to keep it around there, and then just drag the dot back up to the top left corner of that tone, and then once it's up there, just let go, and you'll have this. Now for me, that's not fading down enough, so I'm going to shrink the end down a little bit more. That's about right. So for the do part, will require a little bit more complexity, but it's only a little bit more. I'm pretty sure you can do it. So so you just find out what tone, what note that's do. That's a C. So 261 hertz. Now this will have to be 0.15 seconds. because the tone afterwards is going to fill it to be 0.25 seconds, which is going to be 0.1 seconds. So yeah, you shrink this down, and to make it end at the same time or the same volume, and you just match the ending part down to here. Like you just drag this down here until the two match up. Don't worry about this black line, that just merges it, and if you click on that, it'll merge the two. But sometimes if you do that, then the yeah, there we go. It'll screw up the sine wave. Also, if it messes it up, it stops your dragging motion as you go, so you got to go all the way up here to get over it and then drag it back up again, or whatever. So now we generate another 261 at 0.1 hertz. And then we drag this down. And then we drag it back up over here, like this, just like we did in the beginning. Now let's go ahead and preview it. It tends to cut off early, so I'm going to hold down Shift for the loop. Just hold down Shift and click play for it to loop. Oh, it reminded me of Lone Ranger or whatever. So now we need to generate a D that is 0.25 seconds long. So let's just first get the time set over with, 0.25. And let's check the hertz chart here for D, which is 294 hertz. Yeah, these are random numbers, but that's what the tuner said, so. So let's go ahead and shrink this down to over here. But sometimes if a tone is small enough, you don't want, or short enough, you don't want to have the shrunk all the way down. So in this case, you get as close as you can to the merge to edit it, so you can drag this back up again like that if you wanted to end at a louder volume or a softer volume, depending on what you want. Basically, it would kind of end like that, so the 8-bit music would sound right. Now over here, I grabbed the wrong end. See, it's like two separate ones now. So go ahead and hit Control Z. And it seems like it undid the other one, so I gotta redo that one. And then try again with this one. It still does the same thing, just zoom in on it a little bit more, and then you can grab the dots on the other side. And remember, don't try to merge it, because you might end up making the two one long thing, and it won't work right. I mean, most of the time it'll work okay, but I really don't recommend merging the tones like that. So now we need a another F or C. Sorry, we need another C at 261 hertz. Yeah, so yeah, 0.25 is where we want it again. So let's go ahead and shrink the volume down to the match. So these two match over here, like that, and drag the other side and kind of go over the black line with this while dragging, and then just get the dot to the top left corner of the note, and then you'll be okay. And then just hit the back button over here to get to the beginning. Now it's time to generate a silence, which will space out the tones for the do 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 and the do do part. So this needs to be 0.25 seconds because it technically counts as a note, more or less. So now we need an E. Let's go back to the tone frequency chart, and it says it's 329 hertz. So square no alias and 0.25. Go ahead and shrink it down. Now it's hard to line these two up, so just take your best guess as to where it is. That's my best guess right there. Now for this, I can just copy and paste this note right here, or whatever, and it's the same frequency, speed, and duration, and everything is the same. The tone I was about to generate already, so I can just copy and paste that note, making the process much faster. There you go. Or shaving a haircut. Shaving a haircut to this. I think that's how it goes, but now let's add a separate track so you can add drum beats if you want to. This is where we need to generate a white noise. But if you want to have a short, abrupt drum beat, like a t, then you make the white noise 0.05 seconds to be white, because pink and browning are soft versions of the white noise that sound kind of like air rushing, and white noise sounds like TV static almost. So yeah, 0.05 is where you want to go. And then you just, if you want to keep copying that drum beat, you can just copy and paste it like this. And now for these two, we're going to generate a symbol that's going to last 0.25 seconds. 0.25 seconds. And now we make it fade like this. And now let's go ahead and check that out. Now let's go ahead and copy and paste this one. Like that, so it sounds like this. Now I forgot to tell you something convenient about Audacity, the newer versions, is that you can click near one of the merge lines. That's also why you want to keep them there, so you can line things up perfectly. And you'll know when it's lined up right when you see the yellow line when you click. The yellow line means it's lined up with that merge perfectly, so you can put a tone or whatever you want there to line it up in sync perfectly with this one. So this one we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're gonna add a noise, white noise here that's going to be half of this, which would be 0.125, I think. Yeah, it looks like it's about half. So we're going to shrink this down to about half the volume of this one, so it's about twice as loud as the end, as if it was the same noise as before. Or you can just be lazy and copy paste this and put it near one that's 0.125 seconds long. If you have one that's the same length as what you already needed, then you can just kind of cut off of it and then just drag it over there. But I don't have one like that, so I gotta be a little less lazy in there. So we gotta generate another noise that is 0.250 seconds, and just zero all this first just to be sure. When you get to this zero, just put a 25 because now it's 0.25 and hit OK. Now here's what a drum beats, or here's what white noise sounds like without the envelope. See, that ain't right. That just sounds like static. So let's drag it down to about here, and then just raise this up like that. Try to get in between these two lines here if you're doing multiple tracks to get the dot in the top left corner. So now let's see what it sounds like with drum beats. Okay, so you might, for this one, you might want to make it end a little bit much to make it go like one of those jam cymbals, whatever. If you want it to end abruptly, you change the ending volume to one that's a lot softer than what's over here, so that way it sounds like this. So I think I might have made this one a little bit too big too, so I can go ahead and shrink that down. I'm going to go ahead and put a silence at the end so it doesn't end too early. There you go. That's what shaving a haircut sounds like with drum beats. Now let's make shaving a haircut dual toned, which in this case we'll need the calculator because we're going to need to divide some numbers. Calculator. So this is, we're going to have to divide the hertz by 2. So this hertz was a F, so that's 350 hertz. So we'll take 350 divided by 2 to bring it down 1 octave. 175. So at this point we're making a background, but it doesn't have to be a sine wave. It can be any waveform you want, but it's best if the background of the music is at least 1 octave lower than the foreground of the music. So we need a new track. It's also best if you lower the gain of the background down by maybe like -2 or -3 decibels down here. So we're going to go ahead and generate a tone of 175 hertz. Square no alias is where you want it to be. 0.25 is where we're going. We want the background to sound like this. Or no, let's think of something better. Yeah, let's okay, so that means we need an A. Yeah, let's do an A. So A is 441, which means this will be 220.5. The 0.5 is important. Don't forget about the 0.5. So I'm just going to go ahead and shrink this, and you can just kind of watch my process, because you kind of already know how to do the envelope by now, I'm assuming. So you go into the selector again, so you can select it, make sure it lines up, and make sure you see that yellow line that was right here when you click, so that way you know it's lined up with the merge. So these two look like they may not be lined up, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on them. Now don't worry about this gap, that's like a microsecond, no one's going to notice that. So yeah, the tracks are perfectly lined up right now, so let's just leave them like that. And just to be safe, I'm just going to click again on the yellow and make sure I see that yellow line. And make sure you click on the track you want to add the sound to. The one you're going to add the sound to is highlighted like a light blue, while the other one's like a white or beige color. So now we need a C. So what would be C? Let's see, 261. So we need to so this since we're going down an octave, but we're kind of going back up into the same octave we were already in, it can be 261 hertz, because if you divide that by 2, you'll be going down in pitch instead of up in pitch. So it wouldn't sound like it would sound like it'd be all messed up. So I'm gonna go ahead and shrink this one down. Yeah. So if you're going already into the octave you're already in, then it doesn't matter, you just use that note. Okay, for that I'm assuming the octave was a little bit too high, so we're going to be going down 2 octaves for this. So this we're going to divide 441 divided by 2, hit equals, and then hit divide by 2 again. And then hit equals, and then see it says 220.5 divided by 2, and hit equals, and you get 110.25. So that's going to be our hertz. In fact, that's actually I think like the tone of octaves I used during the song "Singularity," which was in Random Siren Shorts 9, I think. It was in the end of the credits. That song, I'll probably put the some of my 8-bit songs on at the end of the video, so you can hear what they sound like, and then you can make your own and see how they act up and see how they work, and then maybe you can post videos on them or post them on YouTube, because I like to see your progress. So let's go ahead and solo this. If the tone is low pitched enough, the gain probably doesn't want to be turned down until after you've generated the tone all the way. So yeah. So best to keep these turned off while you make these work. So yeah. So now we need a C. We divide it by 2 because we had it undivided last time. So I think it was 261. Yeah, 261. 1 divided by 2 equals 130.5, and that looks like it'd be perfect. If you get a number that doesn't look right, you want to do the calculation again, or doesn't sound right, like you put it in and it's an octave too high, in that case just divide the number by 2 again, and then you'll be in that golden zone, hopefully. So we go and line up the pitches here. So now we need a D, which is 294 hertz, so let's go and divide that by 2. 147, that looks like it matches up pretty good with this. Looks like it's 1 note higher. Actually, yeah, 147 hertz, yep, 147. And at the same duration, 0.25 seconds. Now I already have a tone that I have ready for this one that's exactly like this tone. So what I'm going to do is just going to copy and paste this tone so I don't have to keep regenerating the tone over and over again. Now you don't need a silence now because we can just snap to the merge over here. Now we need an F. We're going to divide it by 2 twice because we need it to be really low. So 350 divided by 2, and then whatever that is divided by 2. So clear. 350 divided by 2 equals 175. See, that's too high. We're trying to go lower in pitch. See, that's higher than 147. So we're going to go ahead and divide 175 by 2, and we get 87.5. That sounds like a radio station. 87.5! 87.5. Now I'm going to check the tone before I do anything to it. Perfect. Alright. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my best guess into which it is here. Now, since the ending is dar-dar, that's 2 of the exact same tone at the exact same length, at the same volume, at the same declination of volume, so I can just copy and paste that one again. Even if it's not the same declination of volume, you can just change the declination of volume with the envelope. Like you can change when it declines or when it raises. Like you can reverse the tones, whatever. Like if you want to go, yep, you can do this. You can just kind of do the same steps in reverse. Well, unless you already have a dot already up here. So in that case, you'd have to generate a new tone. But since we're not doing that, we don't have to worry about that. That sounds good. Let's see what it sounds like together. Now, these two sound like they're blending together a little bit, so we're going to turn the gain down in the background to -2 and see what it sounds like. You just listen to it once more. Still sounds like it could be turned down and improved. So, -3. And there you go. There's Shaving a Haircut. Now let's go ahead and export the file. Maybe. Just in case. Since I already have a file named Shaving a Haircut, but that file sucks, I'm going to name this one Shaving a Haircut 2. Yeah. Now let's change the background up a little bit. We're going to delete these 2 tones, and it's going to go da 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 da. Like the Singularity song. So we're going to take this tone and copy and paste it. Go ahead and Control V. So we need a G now. We haven't generated that tone yet, so let's go ahead and generate a G. We're going to divide this one by 2 twice. So 394 divided by 2, and then divide by 2 again. 4, or no, not 97. 394 divided by 2 equals 197. Divided by 2 equals 98.5. So let's go ahead and generate that tone. Around here I was being an idiot, and I didn't notice that I deleted 2 tones that I actually needed when I was changing the tones time shifter tool, which is this tool right here you can use to move tones and stuff around. They automatically snap to other ones so that you can see when the yellow line happens that it's perfectly matched up, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and regenerate that other tone, that other F. F. 350 divided by 2 divided by 2. Divided by 2 equals that. Divided by 2 equals 87.5. That's where we were last time. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink it down. Now let's see what it sounds like on its own. Now let's see what it sounds like with the rest of the group. That sounds awesome. Let's go ahead and export that audio as Shaving a Haircut 2.1. Not saving it as 3. Whoops. Oh, yeah. Okay, don't try to save files with decimals because they'll think you're trying to save it as a new file name, so say no to that. So we're just going to call this 3. So yeah, don't try to save things with decimals on the end, because then it'll screw up the file ending format or whatever. It'll screw up the file format. So yeah, don't try to save things with decimals at the end. It won't understand that. It reminds me of SpongeBob for some weird reason. Anyway, we don't want to waste the rest of this time, so I'm going to show you a song I did earlier called Singularity. I just labeled it as Singularity 8-bit because I played it on my synthesizer keyboard before it broke at some point. I have it on a tape downstairs, but I don't feel like playing it for you right now because I think the 8-bit version sounds a lot cooler. Stick around to the end to hear the rest of this song. So I opened up the WAV file, which I did not mean to do. I meant to open up the op file, which stands for Audacity Project, AUP. So you go ahead and hit open and hit Singularity again. Op right here. So now we can see all the tones being generated over here. So you can see it's going to sound exactly the same. Alright, so this is before I had the list of hertz over here, so the tones may not be 100% accurate, but they are pretty close. But I did use the timesing and dividing technique for changing the octaves and stuff of the tones I'm generating. So yeah. So right here you can see all the tones I've generated here. Alright, so right here you can see all the tones I've generated. I might have already said that. So I'm going to let you hear each one of these sounds on its own. So here we see the tones don't have enveloping, and here's kind of what it sounds like. See, it's like run-on. And then when you have the enveloping to make it fade, it sounds like this. It sounds a lot more groovy, if you know what I mean. Anyway, what I did here with the tones over here is these four were left untouched in terms of enveloping, and this one was enveloped, so it sounds like this. And then with the thing over it, it sounds like this. Whoops, accidentally highlighted some. And now let's hear this part over here. So here are the drum beats. This is what I was doing earlier with these 0.05 seconds long white noises that I can use, and then I just kind of line them up with the notes over here, so that way they'd line up as 0.25 seconds each time, because the song is like one beat every 4. I don't know how to describe it, but over here is one that I made 2.5 seconds. Or why do I keep saying 2.5? I meant 0.25, not 2.5. Anyway, I made it 0.25 seconds long and added the envelope so I could make it sound like a cymbal. And then I added this tone over here, so it was like. So it has that like that tango sound to it or whatever. So here's what it sounds like, and I just took this and copy, paste, 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 and then I just copy, paste, 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 and lined it up with each one over here with the yellow line technique. That's what I'm going to call it from now on, the yellow line technique. Line it up with the yellow line that lines up with the merges. Don't try to merge it or else you'll get rid of that yellow line. Well, you won't get rid of it here because you got the end of the thing here. So you can go ahead and get rid of that merge. So try to not click on those merges, because if you click on it, it goes away. And then you got nothing to line up with. So you make sure you have that merge. So basically you need to line up the beginnings with the beginnings in terms of the notes, so you can get that nice 8-bit sound. So here's what the drum beat sounds like. That was just copy pasted a bunch of times. So these hertz are obviously all different, but they're all square waves with no alias. There's no sawtooth, sine, or regular square waves in here. It's all just square waves and white noises. So let's go ahead and close this. And then, oh wait, I forgot to show you one more thing. Hang on. The process of changing the durations or whatever. That's where we're going, is right here. Now this background part is all the same. It's always the same. For that, just kind of copy, paste, 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 paste. You know, pasting. Did I mention pasting? Yeah, I mentioned pasting. What about pasting? Yeah, I paste, 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 and paste, and paste, and paste. So that way it repeats over and over again until we get to the end. And then anything that's left, I just highlight it and hit delete. So it goes away and ends there. So back to the duration. Right here, let's go ahead and solo this one. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. There it is. This is the one I can show you. All these notes here, these are all 0.25 seconds long. And these longer ones here, these longer ones are 0.5 seconds long. It always cuts off early for some reason when I hit play. And over here we have this part here was copied and pasted twice and left two notes over here, so it sounds like this. Yeah, turn the drum beats off so you can hear it. The background's turned down to -1, so that way it has that growl sound effect, so it sounds awesome. Because singularity is so frackin' awesome. And I don't have the time to make that 8-bit, so. Anyways, now let's get over here. The copy paste the beginning of the song where the envelopes were, so I could just put this back. So now let's hear that whole thing with all the stuff intact. See, it lines up perfectly. Now, what you don't know probably is that there is a bit of a, not a misalignment, but it kind of goes off time with this over here. So I did have to make some editing with the background. Just listen closely. See how I kind of started over there? Because I kind of went backwards in terms of it, so I just kind of cheated and started it over this part over here. Let's go ahead and close this and open up another song I made, which is a little more complicated. If this message pops up about orphan files, just continue without deleting it and ignore extra data files, because there really usually is none. Just hit OK. Okay, here's the unique part about this song, is that it starts with the background as a sawtooth wave at -3 decibels for the gain. But eventually, it becomes a square wave with no alias. So yeah, the drum beats are the same as in Singularity, the tango or whatever it's called. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Singularity isn't actually 0.25 seconds per note. It's actually, I think, 0.22 seconds, which makes it a little bit faster. So it's got a nice little dancing beat to it or whatever. So yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to show in terms of the 8-bit music. This is Broken Solar Panel signing off.